Okay, there we go. It's looking good. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, let me know if you guys are here. That's me. Good. Sounds coming through. That's good. I just heard it echo myself for like that one little bit there. So that's good. Alrighty. Cool. Welcome, welcome. Doing these weekly is definitely it's getting back to the semi stress of it. It's like I have to do a lot more than bi-weekly, I guess. We're getting back up to the closer to how it was, like where it was 2 a week. So let's see. Hi Dusty, welcome, welcome. We'll get started in just a bit. Tell your friends. Okay. I never know how to start these streams. I never know like whether or not I should like, you know, I should watch more other streams, I guess. Like I should watch more Twitch to see what they do. But I never really join in when they're doing their startups, you know, to know what they do. I'm just always super awkward when I'm having like start up a conversation on my own, you know. It's like, how do I initiate it? And it's like, it's just like, hi. I'm more of a secretary. But yeah, once we get going, definitely have more stuff to show you, then it gets easier. Yeah, I never know, like with those guys that have like 8-minute intros, where it's like, are they talking? Like, how much should I be? Welcome, Felicity. I'm gonna call you Felicity. Actually, I don't know how to spell Felicity. Speaking of which, let's get started and let's get that a little bit lower. Boop, boop, doop, boop, doop, boop, doop. Didn't know that was gonna be mildly loud doo doo. But let's see. Welcome. Hope you guys are good. Welcome everyone else who's joining in or hasn't talked yet. That's okay. I respect that. But also leaves me more opportunities to get lonely. So, but anyway, how you guys doing? Welcome. I've been doing good. I'll probably be talking about this past week has been super interesting. So I'll talk about that throughout the show. So but yeah, we'll just get started here. Kind of show what I've been doing. Well, I guess I've been mostly working on a different character. I've been working on Zipstorm. That not to be confused with how their. I still don't get how their surnames are. Pipstorm. No. Yeah, Zipstorm, Pip Petals, and Queen Haven are all related. How does that work? I don't know. But the white colored with the ice cream hair, that one I've been working on her this past week, so she's almost ready. Not quite ready for the spotlight just yet. I'll have to do some more tweaks in here and there. I might show that off later in the show as well. Yeah, let's see. Anything else with that? I also wanted to, off the top, also say a big, thank you. Found him. Big thank you to a new patron, new patron to my Patreon. I'm super humble. I hope you stay around because I'm gonna keep making stuff. I'm working on chapter 7. And there's going to be at least a chapter 8, so yeah, it's going to be a lot. There's still plenty of content and plenty of months and months of work, so don't feel like, oh, you're going to stop making ponies soon. It's like, nope, I have a whole extra chapter at least. I'm saying that just in case chapter 8 gets split up, which may or may not happen. At the moment, it doesn't look like it may need to, but definitely chapter 7 might actually need to be split up. I'm thinking about it. But chapter 7 is the one I'm working on now, so the next chapter, and then chapter 8 is the one after that, of course. And that might be the finale. So that's why I'm trying to think whether or not I should split that up into something extra. But if there's going to be like an epilogue or something, you know, like a post-credits thing, which I don't quite have planned out right now. Nothing specific with that, but then that'll be the finale kind of a thing then. So, but definitely the big ending is coming up soon. So, yeah, the whole project is only going to be like 10 or 15 minutes long in total of animation, which I guess is somehow still shorter than missing out. I don't know how that works, but yeah. But yeah, we got Sunny, so I should probably start playing with her. Welcome, weirdo. Welcome, Productions. Oh, okay. welcome. Hello there. So, I haven't been working on this file particularly, so not much has changed, but that's a good way to start this. So, I've been playing a little bit also with some Toon Boom other specific features that I forgot about. The X sheet, or the dope sheet, allows you to have a whole bunch of different, practically like every element is displayed here, and then vertically it changes over time. So it's actually super useful for when we like change frames and stuff. Like I can go to the wings, and then you can see that the frames here match up with the ones that I labeled over here. So they got extra labels because I actually went in and added words into it. Most of the other ones are just like 1s and 2s and stuff. And you can see here that, it changes to frame 2 right here, and then 3, so it matches up. I'll allow that emoji. It's cute. Thank you. Hello, cartoons. Welcome. But that's a weird Sunny. That's what happens when you have to like expose for like, I'm jittering. Oh no. Where is me? Beep. When you gotta like expose for all the different Klonoa. Oh, you can't see that. Oh, I turned it off. I was listening to Klonoa music. They know we can see it. I'll be back. Let me just refresh my brain. I'm using Character Animator to do this. Almost there. Beep. I'm back. Did I miss anything? Oh, I got some new guys. Hello. Hi, Ralphie, welcome. I'm trying to get started here. I've seen process makes us fun. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm gonna be happy about it. There we go. Thank you. I'm doing good. This week has been work. Yeah, it's just been a whole bunch of rush orders and stuff that they would like give me an invoice relatively close to the deadline. Usually we have like our deadline set to like be 7 to 10 business days, so that accounts for like the weekend. But this week has been a lot of stuff that's been due less than a week, so less than 7 business days. So it's been a huge rush to get a whole bunch of those. All those orders out. A lot of I've gone from like using the laser to like going back to my original drill that I started with, like the first engraving drill that I've used. So it's kind of been fun to like go back to those memories of like, oh yeah, I used to like work the drill like me almost exclusively because I didn't really have much else. Just get it started and see if there's anything I can tweak right here. But yeah, so it's nice to go back to something that I know how to do with animation. It's like, okay, I can handle this. Insert some like clipping here for like the hair kind of goes into her ear. So it's like I can probably like do like a cleanup afterward. Cause like even if you render it, you can see that clip where like they're touching each other. So it's that's gonna be a problem. I'm pressing a blue flower to be able to show the extra effects that are on here. Otherwise they don't show. But let's see. See if there's anything else. There's more like alicorn transformation effects that I want to do, or at least just kind of clean up some of this, but I think I want to move on to the next shot. So I can move up to here, in which I think so many buttons, so many toolbars here. Let's just show the storyboard, and you can get an idea of all this. But yeah, it's been nice to settle down and get back into something more comfortable for me. But so anyway, Sunny loses her alicorn powers, and then I'm trying to make these two, the Pegasus sister twins. So we're working on Zip, it's Puppet, and she's almost done. I need to do the wings and then some cleanup overall with her whole body. Just make sure there's a cleanup stage, make sure that she's really ready to go, you know. So I think I'll just focus on shot 2 here, which I think in my X sheet should say that as well. Yeah, so I labeled it. Shot 2 there. Anyway. So Sunny will fly in. I want to reposition her so that she's not like on the edge at the bottom here. So I could play with the camera here, which can actually kind of move her down and kind of reposition her in the side of the frame, and then play with Z depth to add some parallax so it doesn't feel flat when I move it. But that's the plan today. So how are we doing? Sounds good in the chat. I know. Thank you. I appreciate it. Felicity, that the yeah, no worries with that. It's usually I don't talk myself too much when I watch streams either. Especially ones that are like super popular ones that it's like how can I possibly say anything that'll be what like 100 other people are just like parroting, like a parrot bird would just be saying the same thing over and over. That if someone says something that can be misconstrued, everyone there will be saying the same thing and be like, haha, let me repeat that one thing, and then everyone does it at the same time. So it's like, what am I gonna add out of that sort of stuff? You get lost in the crowd, you know. Okay, so it only happens with like the ones that have thousands of people. But definitely then the opposite happens when it's super small, like us, where it's like only like 4 or 5 people. Then it's like, oh, if I'm gonna talk, then I'm gonna be heard. So that's like a utter social anxiety of like, wait a minute. It's very possible that the streamer didn't actually read it. So, yeah. I can do. I was gonna have it so it starts at this point, but yeah, let's do that. Let's start here and then have our thing end here. I see you. Speaking of which, that cookie. Let's see. How are you? I'm doing good. Again, it's just like having the stress of work usually bogs me down. I'm usually very punctual. I'm very, I definitely like having busy hands. I do like what I have to do, you know, what I gotta do when everything is fun. I do like to work, and I do like to work, but yeah, it's just when it gets a little too much for my liking, and then it's like, oh, maybe we can tone this down, right? What I want to do is probably just expand this guy here. Let's just make it a little larger. But yeah, hi Cookie, if I didn't say that. And I'm too busy making his cloud layer a little larger. So when I play with this, thing here, we can see some levels of parallax where like she's over the cloud here, and then she's not super touching it. Ooh, we got some sparkles up there. That's from leftover. What we can do is make this more interesting. Is that I can go to the top, go to background 2, go to sky, and what I can do is from the top view on here. So this is the camera at the bottom, and its field of view is looking at this. That's what it sees. And so what I want to do is push the sky further away from the camera, because everything right now is all kind of bundled up right next to here. That's sunny right there, and so the further away you go is up here. And of course, if you have something closer, so I can just kind of show that off. So I'm bringing it closer to the camera and further away. There's an extra fun button, allows you to maintain size. So we click that. Then the actual size of it actually grows as it gets further back. And so it actually is getting larger. So do the same thing with the clouds. And kind of push these maybe not too far back. And then the shines can be brought forward a little bit. But already that makes the camera down here. If I do this again, bring this up, grab it, should be able to see a lot more depth into it, so we can keep playing with it to see what works the best. But that's the idea, is to add some parallax to that. What we could do is add a gradient, so maybe we can see the color of the sky here. Now, I'm not sure if I'm using this. This goes into background territory, of course, but just want to see if I can do something. Something richer like this. Oop. Is it G for gradient. Kind of rotate it. Make it about the same size. And already, now we got a nice gradient. There we go. If we render that, she's super glowy. What I want to do is probably push the clouds a little bit further back, because I saw that it wasn't as parallaxy as I want. And I could possibly put both clouds in different... I want to see if I have any keyframes there. Okay. Let's bring them back further into the distance. I think I've been talking about that. That's just been a lot of rush orders. A little bit too much, but I've been getting used to it. Let's see. I just want to recall this. BK to PP super peg. Looks like the clouds got smaller, so I'll have to just kind of go in here and resize it back to where they were. Storyboard, please. Can I put that back? Okay, so now if we go back to what I want to do, what am I trying to do? Go back to here and turn off storyboard, camera. So now we can see that if we wanted to move the camera, there's now more variable depth to things. And now it seems like the clouds are much further away from her, and that should be right. The sky shouldn't be moving too much, and the shines are about in the same distance as Sunny. We can keep playing with this, and we can definitely add two clouds as different layers. But that's how that works. It's in true 3D as well, so that wasn't enough. We can see that with the perspective floor at the bottom of how this is working. Yeah. So here we go. Just wanted to play with that a little bit because I knew that was going to be trying to work with that. We can also play with the background here as well and trying to separate these into their own layers as well, which I think I might need to see. Turn these off. Background 1. Let's just do this for now. It shouldn't take too long. Okay, so the foreground should be about there. Foreground is way back here. So I would like to move that back. Probably start from the sky. Would also be useful. Let's maintain size. Push that way far away. Sun can be way far away too. I like to have it so like when the camera moves for something that's uber far away, like the sun, that it doesn't move at all. It should feel like it's so far away that it doesn't actually move at all. Foreground's at the same plane as her. So now, if we go back to camera, we'll see how this looks now. So I might need to extend drawings a little bit. We can already see like how they're already at different distances away from the camera now. So it'll just be like making sure that when we move the camera like a little bit, that we don't see the, obviously, the holes here. But I might want to move this guy back a little bit. So it's a lot of tweaking back and forth with this now. I'm trying to see what works, how far the things need to be, and go from there. So maybe I just want to move just way ridiculously far away. Move these back. It's possible that we want to just move this like even closer, because that doesn't need to be too far away. And so now, if we move it, that's closer to what I want. We'll go for that for now. Okay. Yeah, just wanted to quickly play with that, because now when the camera moves, you can see a little bit of that. And it'll just be going into the drawing itself. Clean this up a little bit. I did a lot of this kind of stuff in Midnight Mares for that animation. Because we had a small team, very, like 3 of us, 4 at a time. And we were able to like kind of choose, you know, we had to wear multiple hats, a lot of hats, which just means that we had to do a lot of different jobs and stuff at the same time. Like, you weren't just, I wasn't just the animator, I was also compositor and puppet builder and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I had to composite all the different backgrounds that the other team members did, where they drew up in Photoshop these ridiculously beautiful and gorgeous backgrounds that I had to feel very limited. I had to feel like, don't mess these up, you know. But they were a lot of fun to like go through and try to explain to one of the team members is more of a traditional, you know, or more classical style painter who needed some guidance, so to speak, of how to do it a way that animation can actually be achieved. With like the flat backgrounds in a way that would work best. Do we just kind of keep the camera motion moving, but of course it cuts between there and there, and then it can kind of slow down. If we kind of push this back, we can see it all. If we make this a little bit faster, we like to have this kind of slow down. But it was super fun to play with that kind of stuff. It was, that project was actually a dream come true. To be able to work with a lot of talented people on that. So I'm glad we were able to show at the end, you know, a product, even if it's not what the director probably wants. He had like this huge uber grand vision, you know, like Disney style, you know, levels of like, okay, so we need plushies to be able to sell our comics, which sell our animation, which you know, becomes this like cycle, like enterprise merchandise empire of like, okay, so this is gonna sell this and this, and so we need more content than this to be able to, you know, show on our Instagram, and it's like, that means our YouTube needs to be partnered, and it's like, what does that mean? So unfortunately, time of this recording, I don't think that the series has been picked up yet, but it was a big dream for the director to have it like on one of the big boy streamer channels, so like Netflix and Amazon and Hulu, but I guess eventually HBO is gonna switch over with Discovery, so we'll see about that. It's possible that he did it behind the scenes, but definitely hasn't told us yet. You know, the actual workers on it to help him there, to help him get there. So if I just kind of move her, we can get more of a fast push. Definitely when we were working there, he didn't have an actual deal set up yet, but he said in April that he'll work on it during the summer. So good luck with that. You're doing great. But definitely it's looks like it didn't set the other key poses here. That's fine. So we'll turn off her alicorn magic right as she's ready to do her flip, and then she realizes it and then falls. Oh, what's with that tail? Looks like that hairband changed. do is just kind of remove that keyframe there. Now it should be. Let's see. So for here, let's see, here, here, Sun Alley. Turn that off. But yeah, all of this kind of like background stuff reminded me of that because I did a lot of the work was obviously puppet work, but then a lot of it was also getting the backgrounds and composition, like post-production style work with that. So I did a lot of the I was thinking like I did a lot of the the production and post-production, but I was also there to help with pre-production, which is just like the storyboards and concepts and stuff. But the director already had the script ready, you know, for what it was. Let's put that around there. So he had the script and was like, okay, now I need animators to actually fill this in, please. And so he contacted me, which I actually offered myself as tribute to say like, oh, I wanted the pony conventions, Everfree Northwest, which I'm planning on going this year. We'll see. But it'll probably just be like a day, because obviously I can't really, I don't think I can get a a day off for at work on Friday to go to it. So let's see about that. This is just general posing, so don't worry about all this fun. It'll get better. But yeah, after one of his, I went to his panel. I watched all of his stuff there, all of his watched his panel and was like, hey, you know, he said in there like, hey, I need animators to be able to get this going. And I was like, ooh, I'll give you a business card. And I was like, okay. Unfortunately, then the software that I was using, or at least the previous animator, duo cartoonist, used Toon Boom, which is what I'm using now. So at the time I didn't have Toon Boom, so it was like, uh-oh. I'm like gotta, you know, press him and wanting to do this when I don't have the software. So it's like, that was the biggest challenge then. So I think I did the same kind of route that even Fluffy Mixer did, where it's like, oh well, I don't have the software, so I'm just gonna use what I got of Flash and then just kind of recreate what Duo made, and then hope that works out. Whereas like, oh, they used a whole bunch of, you know, crazy Toon Boom stuff, and then obviously Oldest can't do none of this in Flash. You don't have none of these bips, so it's like, oh, okay, try to recreate something in more in the not superior version of it. So yeah, that was fun. I'm gonna see one quick sec. I see you. just want to make sure that this makes sense. Okay. I don't know this is probably going to make any sense to you guys, but, and then she falls. Okay. Hi guys! Let's see. Hi, Simple. We'll have a look at the DreamWorks afterwards when it goes episode. Yeah, it's for 3D animation. The DreamWorks software is Moonray? I did look into it yesterday, yeah. I watched the video that they had, and their nicely constructed PDF press release. So that was fun. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with like what a renderer software really is. To be able to really ooh and ah about it. Definitely looks obviously very interesting to like have this even be a thing at all. But I think it's just my knowledge of not knowing like how do you use it, I guess. Like you get like I'm used to Blender and 3D modeling and stuff in that. So how do you then get to like export it? Like is it just a composition-y thing? Like if you render your bring your stuff into that, yeah, it's like just pipeline of like how do you can you animate inside it? Do you know, so it's like there's a lot more questions that I don't quite understand yet. So but that's super cool. Yeah. My style art style is more flat, so not much in terms of lighting and shading. So let's see. Hi, Mr. Clown. Welcome. Finland. I don't know anything in Finnish. Hello. But yeah. So now we got like Presto from Pixar and DreamWorks. Moonray are becoming available, which is I'm sure super exciting for those 3D animators who like want way more powerful renderer softwares, which I'm still not 100% sure about. So yeah, I'll have to look into it more, obviously, to see what exactly that means. Because I'm thinking that it would just be, oh, you can... I'm not sure what this button is here doing. I just want to remove it. Or not. Oh, I can just freeze my whole program. Oh no. Oh, it might be good. Are we good? Yee. You don't think my computer probably able to process that either. Oh, Moonray. If I did more stuff like what would be in a full-on feature film, then maybe. Or like I would need some of those features and stuff to be able to get like they had like the video had like trolls. And they were like, look how fast we can render real-time troll hair. And it's like, okay, that's cool. Good lighting and physically based materials, I guess. So obviously my style is more closer to trying to make my 3D look 2D so that it doesn't feel too awkward to look at, or jarring between, especially I'm talking about my movie, the Paper Derpy movie, that is like to make it seem like it's still made, everything is still like looks to be crafted within the 2D software, which it's close enough that's like I'm happy with it, and it has its own kind of distinct style in that kind of sense then that it's like, oh, I can sort of still have it kind of look pretty good and pretty close to 2D shading. Not quite there yet. I'm getting close where it's like, ooh, I can have more polygons per object, is what I'm looking into more nowadays. Chapter 7, I have been working on that a lot to get the objects and assets. Usually I like model something, you know, and have it look, you know, you have like a glass or a jar, you know, kind of. Let's see if I can get a better color here. You know, I kind of go through it and say, okay, here's my polygon count, and it would just be, you know, something super polygonal, and just be like, okay, that's about it, you know, for like a jar. But when you actually like render it and look at it, you can see like a corner here, and it would just be like a bevel or like an edge, something like that. So it's like immediately thinking like, oh yeah, that's polygons. I'm looking into adding subsurface division or subdivision modifiers, which do kind of like create like it figures out what the kind of average is, and so it can kind of like make it more smooth, and so I can kind of average all these corners out, and so it does kind of make it look more curvy with some mixed results based on whether or not you have more geometry to in your original one to make it look so it knows where to have more of a crease. Like if you want more of a crease here, and you add more edge loops per se at certain edges, but it can take something that's like has these more stark angles and then kind of smooths them out. So I've known about this modifier way long ago, but I've always been scared to like use it because it does kind of eat up your computer, and it does make the every object become like way more poly. You can still edit it, and you can still edit it as if it was your original point, so you can like move this one and it'll move the entire thing over proportionally. But it's just like I'm scared to like there's like an apply subdivision where it'll then just say like, okay, this is your new polygon count for your object, and it's like, hey, wait a minute, what if I wanted to, you know, have it be a little bit wider at the bottom here? You know, what if I wanted to kind of move this out and then move this out and change it? With this version, you can just kind of move this out and go boop, you know, and you only have like one control point to move it. But the one on the right, it's like I have to, you know, either just move individual points or like try to get the entire proportional, and it's like, just like, wait a minute, this is way too tricky. So I'm scared to like apply it and then say, okay, good, that's it, when I want to have more flexibility to say like I want to be able to modify it as easily as if it was. So I've just never really wanted to do that. I'm thinking of doing it for this next chapter, and I've tried it on some objects, and it does look, you know, of course, marginally better, and it looks smoother, and so that'll make it hopefully look with the rest of the composition, you know, with the 2D characters, and trying to look as flat as possible in a 3D setting is actually really, really hard. You gotta set your camera depth and a whole bunch of other features and stuff, but yeah, just is that I can do this as like a band-aid sort of situation where it's like it'll do it, but I don't know how much. It doesn't add any more work because it's just a button to be able to do it, but it's just like something that I like the aesthetic of it being low poly, because that kind of adds more GameCube nostalgia for me. I was like, ooh, I can see the polygon count and stuff. And that kind of ties in back with it being closer to a video game with the movie. So I was like, I like that aspect. Because if it just looks too, I don't know, I've always been weirdly adherent to like make things look good. Obviously, the character animation, I do like to get it as good as I can. motion wise, but at some points it's like, oh, I can kind of cheat or do some other types of features and kind of not have to worry about it being too perfect. But yeah. That's where I am. Or I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do. What kind of direction. And of course I'm more than knee deep. I'm like neck high into this animation with the movie. And it's like if I really change the art style too much, then it'll be more apparent that like I change things, you know? And it's like, whoa, there was some artistic shift between these couple of chapters, you know? I mean, of course, when I look back to chapter 1, it's like definitely the most like, oh. I made that? Kind of a feeling like, oh. So that's why I'm hoping with I'm gonna make it like a redux or like a director's cut version of the movie. So I'm gonna finish the movie in all of its animation, and then I'm going to go back through all of the source files, all drew the entire movie, and practically like reanimate it. Because there's gonna be like a lot of stuff that I'm like not gonna be super happy with. That's like, oh, I can fix this tree, this doesn't look good, I can redo this. I know that like the later chapters will be more closer to what I would want, so, or like the kind of aesthetic that I'm looking for. So those might be a little bit less less change, but definitely those first couple chapters I'm gonna be like, okay, just like redoing it. We're starting from scratch. Oh boy, it's a little messy. Let's see though. May I ask how long it takes to code stuff? Code. So better terminology would probably be drawing, animating. It's like a whole, you know, circle of skills, I guess, that you learn. I guess it started when I started to like draw and like, you know, paint as a kid, like finger paint. But I guess we're like, you know, it's like just it's just like skills that you learn over time. So I guess with what I'm doing specifically right now with Toon Boom, I've only really used Toon Boom for like a couple years, a year or so. But I've definitely been using Flash a lot longer, and then other animation stuff like Flipnote Studio I did take. So on the DS. So that was super fun. Even with like the larger screens like the DSi XL and stuff like that, it's like it never really feels like the largest canvas that I would want to use. So it does take a while, yes. Obviously it'll depend on like your team and what you're going for. Like if you're going for something super cinematic and something that's gonna have a long runtime, a lot of characters, a lot of assets, then each of those assets themselves will need to be designed, curated, storyboarded, created as an asset, animated, composited, you know, and each of those are like in different columns, like something like this, where it's like you can go through and see like, okay, what needs to be, you know, these are every single asset that makes up Sunny, And so all of these have like timelines and like what kind of functions they're doing. Like even at the beginning, maybe able to see like all of these. So the way that Toon Boom works is that you can plot all these different points here, and so they're all like different values. Oh, here's where it gets. This is where the animation starts. This is where the fun begins here. I don't have to like code this. This is just inside of Toon Boom and just what it internally designates. So I don't have to worry about this as much because I can like animate and just kind of move things around in this mode. But if I wanted to, I could get crazy and say like, oh well, this value here, what's that doing there? Let me just kind of, you know, play with that and see that it actually does do something. So if you want to be super picky, be able to like, oh, this needs to be 0.17, you know, and then have it there. So, and I can see like it kind of will go down a little bit here and then go back up a little bit there. So, and that's nothing I have to worry about. None of this really does matter either, but it's there, and it's there for not really true animators, but maybe they're more used to classical style animation, where that is probably what you're gonna be used to, or what you're gonna have to haven't like did. When would it have been? It would have been like pretty much the beginning of animation itself would have been those kind of techniques. At least the dope sheet stuff, where these were like printed on paper, and an animator would be given a sheet like this, and like each column would be maybe like a character, like a dialogue as a separate line. So you could like annotate this, and you go like de boo blah as like words, and then over time downward. So the animation is not like a quick like, oh, let me just put on the animation button and then hope that it works, you know, and print it out. There are ways like AI and all that to like get it going and like super automate things, but to make it automatic and you know, have all these crazy stuff that makes it sliders and make these easier takes time to create the sliders and create all the things that make it faster. So it's still time consuming either way. You know, you can spend a whole bunch of time trying to manually do it and do frame by frame by frame, or you can do this crazy contraption stuff and spend time creating a contraption over after contraption, making sure that it's testing and makes all these work. Do like this one work? Okay, and that takes time. And then by the time you actually get that done, then it's like, okay, then I can have to then make sure that the contraption when I'm working on it actually still works. So you're never really done. It's only like animation is not like ever complete. It's just, you know, delivered and uploaded and whatever. So they'll never be fully complete, because you can always go back in and say like, oh, let me edit this and see what I can do, you know. I can go to X sheet here. I can see where my bibbles are here. And so if I wanted to close our eyes, what I probably could do is actually just click on here and then see about here. Do I want it to be closed? So that's about 5. So then I can do, I probably just like double click and then type 4 in, 3, 2, and then it goes back to 1. So it's a whole bunch of different ways to animate this now. That I can click on this one. Problem is that I don't know how to really see just what I want. And now our eyes closed. So it's a whole bunch of fun ways to animate this. But yeah, everything's gonna take time no matter what you do, you know. Because you could always like make all these crazy graphs and stuff, but then if you want it to be a little bit different, then you have to go through and have to then kind of manually say that this should be about here. And so then we'll close it. So we could have it be maybe like more halfway. Because now she's like concentrating. So there's a lot of like back and forth from once you kind of get like the broad strokes of like, okay, I want her to flip upside down, then it's like, okay, what else needs to move? And it's like, I got all these different fun stuff to play with, but it's like, okay, how's this leg doing? You want to move? Okay, here we go. Let's see what this can do. And then there's 4 legs, so I have to also animate each of these individually and see whereabouts. Now I can see that maybe there's going to be some sort of like weight distribution. Just kind of keep flipping back and forth. And flipping is pretty standard for animation as well, where you want to make sure that you're always checking between the frame before and the frame after to see, is this working? Like, is this moving like at a good pace? Is this what I want it to look like? Definitely want to get a good pose out of these as well. What I probably want to do first is actually make sure that the motion is more smooth. So I probably want to go back to the body and just kind of go through and I'm going to go back up here and here and see, do these all kind of line up? And if there's any like frames that are like this, where it's like they don't match up between like the on twos setups that I have, and it's maybe I want to remove it, so that making sure that even if it's gonna be the same value as before, at least it doesn't go off the on twos or everything, where you have a red dot down here and then it skip and then you have a red dot, so that's on twos. So I'm making sure that everything kind of lines up here, and I see a couple stuffs here. It has to get like a on ones kind of feel for that. But I see down here is that there's larger rooms for adding more frames in to make this a smoother motion. And so what I can do is kind of see. What do I want to do? I want to move. I wanted to not see that. See where that's going there. Probably want to move that over. So I can see that this body moves at a wrong frame right there. So these ones are all kind of connected there, so I can just kind of put that all together there. So yeah, there's a lot to all this, and I probably want to remove her leg animation because I feel like now that's going to be off timed as well. So I got a little bit ahead of myself there. So what I want to do and what the feeling I want is that she's going to be like a little bit more Let's have her more straight up here. So let's kind of go back and kind of rotate her. Might have to fix a couple of these other kind of frames in the middle that are also probably off. See something like that. Kind of fix the in between so like when she moves, she'll be a little bit more in between these frames. Remove. And so she's actually gonna want to follow arcs as well. That's a huge thing in animation. We want to be able to kind of feel the trajectories that when you move across, you want to be able to kind of feel where it's going and where it's heading in a smooth position. So I can kind of see. I think this was green before. We're used to that. I had like green lines, so I was like, I can't really see what's actually going on. I don't know where she actually went. Where is she? There she is. Okay. What if I can change like this? Hue saturation value. If I change this, that just changes back to there. I wanted to see if I can make it lower opacity, but I guess that's what that is. But if I move all of that, where's she actually going? Problem is I don't want to see her and not all these other bips. That's okay. Just want to see that she's something like that where you can kind of feel. I want to move some of these out. So it's a lot of trial and error and just trying to see. I'm seeing that she's going to go forward next, so I can move her down. Now she's getting all kind of wibbly. So I want to make sure that her butt stays in a relatively same place. So, but with this kind of overlay, it's a little bit tricky. So it's going to take a bit more time to make sure that everything's good to go, you know. You know, it's kind of cheat and just kind of like actually remove the keyframe itself and then just kind of put a new one in. Because then it'll actually take the properties from where it was previously and then use that to my advantage. So I'm trying to use her butt as an anchor and see like whereabouts that'll help me. So I can see like the next position is way over here. So as an in-between, I'm gonna have to really arc her back. You just kind of rotate her around almost and then see. Let's see how that's looking. see. This one's actually a little bit too far out for some reason. So now we gotta see if we can retime this. We'd like to move. I want to move all these blends over here. All of these sections of frames. Let's see. If I just move, if I select that frame and then delete it, then that might work, but I have to select the entire puppet, which takes a while. Beep. Okay. Well, smear frames look silly. Yes. They're not supposed to look silly. They're supposed to be a blink and you miss it feature. Where making sure that the making sure the motion fits. By having an exaggerated motion that goes so fast that you can't see it is the purpose. We're gonna see if there's a way to go to hair, go to dynamic spring, go to active. Okay. So I can see all these should be roughly the same. Beep, 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 beep. I also have tail, which is over here. Oh no. Too much info. Can't process. Oh no. Hang on. I've used a lot of smear frames in my animations. I think one of my favorites that I've done, probably like the most recent one, was July 4th. There was like a lightsaber derpy one. And that was fun to have the lightsaber become like a full-on like rainbow spectrum shape arc, where I animated it as a regular stick, a thin stick, and then once I was happy with that motion, I then went back and like figured out that it's like, okay, it's, you know, on one position on one frame, like it would be like up here on one frame, and then it'd be down here as like a swipe, you know. And so if it was just a stick, it would just go burp, burp, burp. And so it's like, oh, it would just kind of stay the same size the whole time. So instead I would, on this frame, well, you can't really see it, but it'd just be something like this where you can almost see like some after frames or something. Yeah, I'm trying to load too much info, so maybe might want to restart it. It probably has other extra memory that it's trying to go through. But I was trying to like load through all of the processes here, so it probably crashed. Yeah, I think crashing usually, at least for me, happens when I do operations that are, you know, much more than it expects, or much more than what the computer can handle. For Flash, it doesn't take too much to get it to explode, but Toon Boom takes a galaxy times more of information for it to go like, whoop, that's too much for me. So I think we're gonna restart it. So should I go to technical or hang on? Let's go to technical. Let's go with that. Okay. So that's trying. I think I might just have to restart it. That's never not happened before, but yeah, definitely gets a little frustrating when it happens. Because it's doing pretty well otherwise for what it has to do, you know. just how much processes are going on here. Hey, we're good. Actually, we're back up. We've restarted it already. Doesn't take too long. So where's Sunny? Oh, she's down there. Okay. There we go. Okay. So we still have some information from what we did today. So, whew. Okay. Yeah, let's be a little bit smarter. We got all these keyframes here. Okay. I want to see cameras, Space Honey, MC. And we're back up. Okay, cool. So we got some of these frames. So let's see. I may just want to move these guys. Actually, just I don't know. Move these guys back. Trying to simplify it as well as we go. It's always good. Less is more. Especially if you're doing fast actions, you don't want to have something really fast and go you know, too quickly. So I think what I want to do, just kind of make sure that my frame rules, I'm just gonna column where make sure everything's on the same column level here. So let's find a ways. She's alright. Long too. Exactly. Yeah, just sometimes you just gotta reboot. You gotta turn it off and on again. That's usually what happens. Just gotta make sure that she's happy. Let's make sure that that butt stays relatively the same position. You can imagine why something like that happens. Is because you have, for this one character, this many objects going on, and it's having to keep track of like drawing position, peg position, all this craziness as well, for every element. And so trying to select all of that at once is like, whoa, for Toon Boom to figure out. So I don't blame it. Obviously, this is way more advanced than Flash wants it to be, but there's definitely caveats that's like, oh no, I'm playing with too much fire here. Oh, excuse me. Can't keep up. The crushers are too much going on. Yeah, it's an operation where, like, at least for me, operations where it's like would take up more memory than the computer probably expects. You know, probably throttling it too hard of like, you want that much information at once? Okay. Where it's just like of like all this stuff at the same time. So yeah, that's my thing. Hiccup burp. Burp. Herbert. But welcome back, Cookie. I know you're keeping track of everything. Yeah. Appreciate it. What are these frames? Whoa. Just gonna push these back. Once it kind of like knows or like understands what you want with Toon Boom, then it's like, okay, I can handle that. But I think when it just has to like initially like go through the entire process. I don't know if you guys can see this. Yeah, here we go. So this is all the stuff that it's trying to, in the background, also trying to figure out. I don't know how much information is really going on here. There's a Japanese toolbar that's trying to set up as well. This is like on startup. It's like having to figure all this out. So it's a lot of stuff that's trying to do. All these packages, and apparently my Windows 10 is not detected, so I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with that. That's some very obtuse computer stuff is going on here. Just want to draw the horse, man. That's all I want. I think body motion, that's pretty good. We can always go. We can always fix it. But yeah, what I was doing that actually broke it was trying to kind of just select all the different dynamic spring stuff. So maybe something with that. I know when even trying to make master controllers, which are arguably probably the most like computing stuff in here, where I know I'm going back and forth, so it doesn't seem like I'm doing this right, but you can kind of follow along, making sure that I'm right at the bottom. What I want to do is probably hide storyboard as well, and then see. And it feels a little rough near the end. Almost because it probably doesn't follow the rest of the arc as you expect. You probably just kind of slow that down. What I probably want to do is add more drastics to these going down positions, so it'll seem a little bit more extreme once we actually rotate her. I'm gonna have to like kind of like undo my keyframes just to make sure that these work. It's a bit smooth, which is, I mean, that's sort of what I want, but I want it to be more... I want there to be a bit more here at this pose, which ironically isn't that much. I want there to be like more of a pop-up, like boom, boom, a bit more. Pop up like this. I know the hair is kind of wacky. But that's what I was trying to do before, but barely we gotta wait for that to that'll happen. What I could do, like, I could make like guides and say like, okay, well I need a circle, so you like draw an arc and then just have her like, maybe like her butt follow that arc. I think that'll be good for now. I almost don't want it to be much more angled until it's almost like she's kind of like stabilizing in here. And then a little bit later she'll pop down. then we get the big pop-up here. So it'll be how's that? There's something here. It feels a little awkward. Oop, auto-saving. Okay. I have auto-saving set to like 5 or so minutes. Let me just quickly check. Save scene automatically every 5 minutes in active intervals in seconds. That's before saving. Oh yeah, that was a thing. You could ask it to, it'll bring up a little pop-up and say, boop boop, do you want to save? And it's like, I was like, no, go ahead and do it. It's for when you want to, you know, manually make sure that if you're going to do an operation that's like, oh, I want to be self-destructive, or you don't want it to actually save it, you're just testing it or something. But what this isn't too bad. What it could have done as well is have it be all motion tweened, or have it so it can, because this is on ones, which I probably could just go in now and break my line, or I can select all these. One of these buttons will let me, if your keyframe on 2, beep, beep. So that adds keyframes. Ooh, she's kind of staggering there. Ooh, probably because are these also kind of moving? Let's move that one. I see, because master's there. Let's just move these all over. Looks like her head moves here, so that's gonna feel awkward. Yeah, so before we even try to get a nice, you know, full motion of everything and try to get the wings going and everything, it's like I gotta make sure that this motion itself actually works. So unfortunately, I just gotta keep trying it to see what works. Let's go back to, let's just do the wings and then have them flap for funsies. Let's go back. Let's see what I can do. So I can animate them from here. Wing on, wing flap. You can see whereabouts. I could do a flap here. I actually probably don't want to have them be. I want to kind of remove these actually. I want to do it from the drawing timeline itself. I think that'll be easier for me. Let's just figure out what's what at this point. I think it starts here. So we'll have her here, whoosh. It's kind of down, and then let's see. So we can have it be down at this point. So what does that mean? That's 8. Let's see. So We can start it so that could be like 7 maybe. Yeah, that'll add a lot more feeling into it. And just testing. I think that kind of works out pretty well, but maybe I want to kind of have the ending a little bit faster so you can kind of retime it like that. And then I get the scoreboard so I can see. Because now the timing's all different now. What do I want to see? So about halfway through, I want it to actually disappear. All of her alicorn powers are expended as one flip, so that when she gets about almost like actually like whips here, then they start to actually disappear. So that'll be its whole other section to get that going. But yeah, you can see just how complex this is gonna be. We haven't even started on the legs or anything else, or like the eyebrows and like the entire rest of her body yet. I think I probably want to go back into her head and set these frame rolls to be a little bit more consistent as well. See, like all these are off. That's her head there. Problem is that it's... How tricky is this? If I just move this back. How much does this actually move this? So that's there. If I move this back, does that actually work? I would feel like the mouth and some other stuff would actually break, but it's actually not. Breaking too much. And so I can kind of see with this dot to see whether or not this arc makes sense. Beep, beep. Beep, 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 beep. Go down a little bit. I like to have it be somewhat fluid with go back and forth, kind of get like a shake head, no kind of feel. So it kind of just goes straight down there. Wonder if maybe we're kind of set for later, but yeah, that helps that a lot. Feel more fluid. Wow, okay. See you there. See you there. Let's kind of move that in between. Kind of keep that consistent. This doesn't seem like it's going too far down. Okay. It's kind of weird neck change there. Frame roll. I don't like how she's nodding. Now I'm wondering... I had to think like, what would make this have move? Why would it move only here? See, on this frame to here, what's moving? Good to see. So like just like your head moving, but if that's not the head, is there another head? That's moving. It's this one. It's this one. Found it. Okay. So this one's actually the one that would rotate her head, so if I move this back, that'll actually keep that. Ha ha ha, okay. So you can over-engineer these things, so I'm just trying to see what's going on here. See if there's anything else that I'm missing here. I'm selecting it so I can like visually quickly see whether or not the one I'm trying to go for matches everything else. Gives I like a pattern just to see whether or not I have everything set up nicely. I wanted to get over to here and see if there's a better head option I can get. Just kind of looking. Maybe more towards center. Frame roll. By having it kind of level around as she's kind of stopping, kind of add some more weight onto her head. Now that's always a good sign. Got some heavy heads. All right. And that looks pretty good. I know there's no keyframes on some of these, but honestly, if they don't really move between things, it's like it doesn't matter. It only matters if it's off the frame rule. That's what I'll be worried about. So you can see, like, yeah, we're getting there. Just a little bit more polishing and having more, just more. It's gonna make this feel even better. I think this is what probably going to be in the animation. This is probably going to be the most complex part of this. So, glad we're just tackling this head on. Just like, okay, what do we got to do now? Like, what's going on? What do we got to do? The whole master controller stuff disappeared because, like, you probably don't want to see it as the animation's going, but it's a little upsetting to see all these kind of go away. Is this the mouth? Okay. So now the mouth is on the wrong frame rule. So I didn't really make sure that these mouth open. Why mouth open? Just gonna select all these mouths and then see. Do these guys have keyframes? Yes. And I think these keyframes are independent from this, or at least you can kind of get it back to where these are. Oh boy. Good thing this is linear. I mean, you can just kind of cheat with this like a lot if you really want to. You know? If you need to like do a weird quick fix thing, then it's like, yeah, you don't have to worry about this being like modular or like making sure that this could be repeatable. In a sense, I'm trying to see where do I just work. If I bring this actually closer this way, I can get a slightly smaller mouth like that. So it's like a but it'll get me to that point. So I'm happy with that. I can't use that. So that'll be off. I think it's okay to have some stuff off frame roll. It be for super fast motions, which arguably I'm doing here. Where it's okay to have things feel more smooth. But just for those purposes, I want it to be fairly smooth. And so it doesn't have to be 100%. What am I even saying? I don't know. I just wanted to do it on twos. I don't know if you guys can hear that. There's like a beeping. I would have to get up and see what it is. But yeah, that's annoying me. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I can keep playing with body dynamics and definitely get the rotating at the start here. I feel like could be. Okay, you can't hear it? Okay, I'm sorry then. I literally have no idea what that is, actually. I don't know what kind of electronics we got that would actually make that kind of a noise. Oop, head move. Head move! I have no idea. What head move here? What is happening? It's so quick, you don't see it. Oh, your wings quit away. That's good. Let me just start 1 and 300. Background on. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is text my dad who's in the room and then see if he knows what the beeping is. That's beeping. Okay. I forgot about the sparkles. Probably should have it be started here would be better for you. Okay. Let me get some water here. I think we'll probably switch over to showing how Zip's doing. So, not bad progress. Obviously it's still rough, but that just means that we can clean it up more. Alright, I guess we could have more sparkles in the second shot as well. That'll be good. Oh, I'm still drinking. Yep, there we go. And now we got like a generator, but I don't think we lost power. Because that usually beeps. It's become subconscious to me now that I don't really hear it sometimes. Ah, sunny. Oh yeah. I was gonna open my open recent, but then you would see everything else that I got in here. Zip. I'm opening a different file. Using the same Toon Boom software itself instance of it, so let's see. Boop boop doop boop 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 doop. So I just showed this off as a quick demonstration again. Also get some feedback from you guys, whether or not this is looking okay or not. Obviously this will be really weird to look at, but that's the wings that I've started to animate. So we got a nice wing flap. So it's pretty rough, and I'll probably have to clean it up to be a little bit more better, but I'll probably just use this as a guide and figure out which shapes I want out of it. But yeah, some of these I'm seeing now kind of swap between shapes, so I probably want to clean that up and get some better get the colors in, but that's all temp. Thank you. Appreciate it. So I got a bunch of master colors that I've been working on practically today. So what we got is the same kind of mouths as Sunny. So I think I just kind of looked at, I had a separate instance of Toon Boom open. I was just kind of making sure that these all kind of matched up. So this is in the same order and shapes and everything. So we got all that. Yeah. I guess I can pose her. Got the head. So there's clipping and poppings. It's like really hard to not have that happen. Or I'm just not experienced enough to like figure out ways to have that not happen. But the head itself is the same as Sunny. This whole bottle is practically Sunny, but I just kind of recolored and changed her hair. So, which is still a lot of work to get that going. Eyes are independent of the headmaster, so I can move the eyes over and then have her eyes kind of be close to where those positions were. So if I put these down here and then move the head, this is kind of fun stuff that's like, yeah, I can do that. Which I think the Sunny one has too, where it's like has the eyes not connected to the head. Instead of positions of the eyes could be repositioned and moved over, and then move the head a little bit and can kind of stay in place. If you just do a micrometer, then the eyes don't. Before they would like pop back to the original position, but this really helps a lot, and that adds a lot more. It's actually some weird depth to it as well. So that looks really cool. At least to me. We got the body flipper, so we can kind of see different angles of it. Not much surprising with that. We can get her kind of close to here. Kind of move her eyes more central. Give a big shush smile. And the wings have different frames, which I kind of showed you that. If we go back to one of these, so the wings can open up. So that'd be like the wing boop boop opening up, which is probably it is a large pop, where pop just in this case would be that it changes shape pretty drastically, a drastic pop. But once it gets up to here, then it's kind of smooth sailing with that. And then big old flap. And a whole bunch of different frames to get it back up. Which I use the X sheet to get the frame numbers to be correct here. And we click it. And these were in a different order, number wise. So I had to use the X sheet to like go through the numbers, and I think there's a button to like, select all these, and then it'd be like 14, 12, 9, 7, 6, and then you can select them all and then say, I don't know where they are, but like there's a rename by frame button. I don't know if you can see that behind me. But it allows you to just kind of swap them out. So it's kind of like a last thing you want to do to make sure that you have the right amount of frames in the right order. Because otherwise it gets super messy. You don't have to, but then you'll have like this frame be labeled 2 when it's like in 7th and then series. So it's like it's just easier that way anyway. But yeah, I think, again, most of it is going to be cleanup. Because I think the head here, I did play with that a lot last night to try and get that to look at least better 3D. I think the blue stripe was the big problem. But once I actually made a master controller and then looked at it, I was like, okay, I get it. That's like the blue should be kind of... I'm just looking at the bottom portion here. Is that when it rotates, that it looks like it's rotating in space. Because usually before it was actually kind of weird. That was kind of whatever I wanted to do. Probably want to use a ruler to make sure that all these hair heights are about the same. I could probably fix a couple stuff that I see at the top of the blue, but yeah. This is just magic to begin with, so I'm just surprised that this works marginally at all, you know? So getting that to this point is like, all right, we crossed so much hurdles to be able to get to here. That was like, yeah. Anything else is just like, okay, I can kind of breathe a little bit easier, just kind of make sure that everything looks as best as it can here. So yeah, biggest thing is to get the wings, and then they're already kind of set up to be master controller anyway. Nice sliders, that's all set up. So I think all I have to do is actually literally just kind of change the drawing pictures themselves, and then the master controller should just not really update, but at least it just takes whatever drawing ID it is and then updating it there. So doesn't need to actually make a new master controller if you're just gonna change the pictures themselves. So, but there we go. We got Zip 99% complete. We'll get her going, and then once she's ready, then I can make her into a library thing at the bottom here, and then put her in here because I think Sunny's in here. Sunny V1 and Sunny V2. Ooh, Sunny V2 has Alcorn features here. Let me get that going. And here's Sunny 1. Yeah. Welcome, Buttercup. Hello, hello. How you doing? Yeah, because these ones of all these frames, exposing every single different part of everything that can change or has different pictures to it. It'll be there and exposed. And this is one that we're working on, so it should feel familiar. This was the Sunny that we're animating. And then just kind of stand still, which I probably could remove some of these frames at the end here because they don't change, but that's whatever at this point. Like I could like go in and like say like edit template and then remove some, but obviously having more frames is probably better because when you drag her into a shot, then she would probably like end at this frame then instead. And then have to then go ahead and expose it for longer, so it's, yeah. Weird stuff. What's my squid? Where'd she go? Squid Kid, Squid Puppet. Oh yeah, there's Inkling. That's my Flash version. I think the mask doesn't work. I don't know, I just wanted to show that. There we go. We got Zip almost ready. And then Pip, I think, is less work on, has less work stuff on her. So I'm going to have to do the whole process again of doing all the master controllers and set those up, and then to do more wing flaps, which each wing in G5, at least with the main 4 or 5, are like all different. Not only are they, you know, different colors, but they're also different designs. Like Sunny's alicorns are more transparent, and Butterfly, not really. Like just an outline. Zips are more traditional, but more colors to them. And Pips are more feathery, so they probably have more whatever these shapes, blubbery parts are here. So, yeah. We'll get there. Woomy. Yeah, I just thought I wanted to remind myself what that looked like to myself. But, yeah. Yeah, ooh, and then we got all the set. Wow, love. So anyway, I'm just impressed that I even made this all from scratch. So like I feel like I'm unlocking something. And it's like I'm doing it. So I guess the only thing critique wise, obviously I'll probably fix some stuff that look off with the 3D, but if there's anything with the like the hair specifically, I don't know. Probably have to look back to see how the 3D version looked and the 2D cartoon one. I guess I was kind of like concerned whether or not some of these hair things, little spikes, make sense. I guess I can look through it again, but yeah, it just feels something feels weird to me. I don't know. I mean, if you squint, then it's like, oh yeah, that's zip. But I guess there's just like some weird stuff that I probably wanna. Something in my mind is like bothering me about it with the shapes of it, I guess. But I guess because I had to like use the same shape for the whole 3D rotating, it's like doesn't feel right at some angles, I guess. Or like as you rotate it, it's like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. There's no depth to it. I don't know. I changed her eyebrows to be thinner. And maybe let's just see what that looks like if I bring her a little bit closer. Yeah. How's that? Actually, I think I have the pictures of her. That's what I mean. I got to look through them all. I have the 3D rotatey, a couple pictures, concept art, and some of these. Yeah, so there's shapes here. I could do this camera. Yep. There we go. So there's like either that's a broken 3D model where like the eyelashes are at the bottom. But I guess I've always hated this face. Always haunts me. I don't like it. I guess that's where you're saying like her eyes are smaller, just like they're just like so lower upper eyelid. They have, I guess, just one eyelid bip there in the 2D one. A lot of eyeliner. So I could remove the 3Ds and then change that. That's probably gonna change a lot. But yeah, I changed her eyebrows to be thinner to match this. The Sunny's is a little bit more, a lot thicker. So I think there's some more details to this that's like I could add, but I don't know if that'd be too much. I don't know. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, I should say I did not make any of these references. I took pictures of them, but yeah, these models and stuff I did not create. Someone else made the model and then also rigged it and then put that model online. So it's basically a rip from the video game for this one, and then that was uploaded from there, which has some face bones and stuff. So I think I had to edit her eyes to actually be open because they were actually closed. So stuff like that. I had to a lot of hoops to get these pictures in. Yeah. Just thinking whether or not these pictures make sense. Ooh, there's a little bit of blue here. I don't think mine has. Hup. Yeah, there's no blue here. I can add something there. Or maybe it's not actually there. Huh. That's the wing. I guess I was also wondering whether or not this mohawk bottom spike makes sense, that it kind of rotates a little bit too quickly. Like it gets hidden quickly, because it has to like be in the middle for like the master rotor to sort of work, but it could be closer to, it could be slower, because it just seems like you rotate it a little bit. I feel like for animation, if you just want to move it a little bit, and it's like a little bit too much parallax, or just disappears like immediately. And so right now it's like in the middle of her head, but I could have it be, oh, that's frame rate. I could have it be here, but then kind of push it back out, and so you still have it. And that looks pretty nice, because otherwise it gets packed there. But I feel like for it to then move back here, and then it had to be, yeah, I'll have to keep experimenting. If how does it then smoothly transition to the other side and feel less of a distance. Yeah, a lot of technical stuff that I'm trying to figure out as well. So trying to get this as best as I can, you know, so I can have this be, you know, close to perfect, so that when I put her into any kind of scenario after that, I don't have to worry about her being worried about her breaking herself, kind of a thing. You know, she can just be as good as possible, and then animate her and be like, okay, I don't have to like make sure that her hair also works every time. And I think I was also mentioned a couple times that I tried to figure out how to get their hair to actually work, and I figured something out. Where I watched a tutorial that was actually super just helpful. That's her mouth. Let me find her hair. Here's mine. Whoop. Where's the hair? There we go. Almost there. Head dragon. I think here. It's like a thing there. Can't see it. It's like a little square thing for me there. Hello. So the thing about the hair is actually that it's made out of obviously multiple parts here, so you can get that parallax with the blue part. So the blue part's its own shape here. They can kind of move around, get into corners of it. But I also have it so that when you move this part, they can kind of deform the whole hair. But unfortunately, that the bottom part of the blue kind of isn't nailed down. So what I had to do for the head rotation, I had to get the different points here, and I had to manually rotate her head, scribble it over here, and then get these bips and then move them back. So it was very tedious to get all these different, there's like 9 different poses for each of these. I'm like snapping to the different poses that I made. So I made these poses, and then Toon was like, okay, you got it. Here's what this looks like in between this pose and this pose, is all of this. So if you want to see all the deformers that I have, let's see. Beep. So here's everything that I can move around at different points and how I can animate it. So I can get each of these different pieces. Where's even a wing? I'll have to find that. But yeah. Everything that has a handle, I can then kind of move its points around. Even these little nose bips to help with the master controller shapes there. And the legs are pretty simple, but pretty effective. They can kind of noodle these around. Here's the shadow. So it's pretty complex, but not too like overly complex that's like unwieldy, I guess. So there's the wing. Just trying to find it. You can get some kind of extra motion if you want with it. So yeah, once we get the sunny barrel rolling animation in a usable part, then we can get more, get into smaller details and get smaller pieces and get like those wings where it's like I can individually kind of go like, okay, on this frame it should be more like this, you know, just kind of like molding it, like sculpting it to get into a better position for what I need on individual frames. But beep, there we go. All right. Hey, we're at the hour. All right. Oh, that was not too intense. Boop. There we go. Whew. That was a lot. Hope you enjoyed though. Let me get some water, and then we'll keep talking for a little bit longer. Well, let's see. It is past my lunchtime. This is my lunch right now. Oh, did the beeping stop? I didn't even know. Ooh. I think it did. Cool. All right. We got through it. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, I honestly have no idea what even that was. I'll have to ask Dad. My dad, not your dad. What that was. I have no idea. Because at work we have a lot of ACs and air ventilation to get the make sure that the engravers that are literally engraving on pieces of metals and woods, even if they spark a little bit of smoke and stuff, that smoke can go somewhere. So we have them running the whole time. So at work we have like it's so loud basically. But I got used to it. We're just like, okay, like, just kind of this natural humming. I guess it's electronic. It's not natural. There's nothing natural. It's like a wind turbine. It's like you're working inside of like an airplane ventilation. The part that spins around near the wing. You're just kind of just hanging out in there the whole time. Or a washing machine or something. I don't know. Or dryer. Anyway, how you guys doing? Sorry. Thank you for sending fun. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you. I was in a new episode too. My bananas. Fortunately, I still haven't watched past. I think the Izzy trapped in the safety box one. I don't know. I usually get into like these modes of like I can sit down and watch like 10 at a time, but then sometimes I'm like I like to not do that. I guess it's just my preference at the time or whatever. I guess basically whenever I feel like it. So yeah, just haven't been in the mood yet. I've been too busy making my own stuff to watch. I'm too busy making cartoons to watch cartoons. So yeah. Unboxing busy. If that's what it is, then sure it is. I won't doubt you on that. Thank you. So whatever episode that was, like probably like 10 or 13 or something. I am glad they're doing it. I'm glad that I'm glad that they're doing content for G5. I just wish it was a little bit more meaty, more substance to it. Because again, it's like they're 5 minutes. You can't really tell much of an arc character development when they're supposed to be episodic and just goofy episodes of the characters. Because it's hard to really learn about them as much as they're just in different situations and are like being archetypes of their bare bones characterizations of them. So yeah, but they're fun. I like them. The art style doesn't bother me as much as some people probably say, but yeah, the pony style that I have and what I've been working on today were created before Tell Your Tale, so that's why they're different. If I started these puppets after Tell Your Tale, then it might be closer to those designs, but yeah, my designs are closer to what the 3D models look like, but just in 2D. So as much as I had going on. So instead of like recreating and starting from scratch midway through, it's like yeah, I'm gonna keep going in this one kid style, and it's ironically more unique now. So yeah. See my heart here. Ooh, there's cookies. That'll be the thumbnail for the movie once that's complete. That'll be the director's cut thumbnail. So, excited about that, and excited to hopefully get done with this movie eventually. It's been a long time coming because I started like in 2017. Of actual production. I think even a little bit before that I had some ideas floating around. But definitely the actual 2017 movie was actually probably the kickstart of that. I was inspired by like the 2D and 3D mix, where they had the two main characters, 2D, and then 3D environments. And I was like, I can do that too. I'm gonna make my own movie. So that's where that spawned from. Was actually the literal movie. Yeah. She'll take me. See you soon. Okay, thank you, Felicity. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you. We'll be back next Saturday. Whoop, that's the void where my arm fell off. Anyway, thank you. Next Saturday. Thank you. Let's go back up. Whoop. Do you think Sunny's Lighthouse and Purple's are the same size buildings, or is one of them a little bit bigger? Oh boy. You're talking. We don't really have a size reference for them. Main or just in general with Gen 5, you know, because they can be huge. I guess the only reference between ponies and humans is they had like one Discovery Family short that had human Rainbow Dash riding pony Rainbow Dash, which is super awkward. And that was like the closest, and the ponies were like almost like up to like neck high or something. Like they were huge. Let's see. They were from Tingle. Oh, okay, gotcha. I think I'm thinking of the same one. Yeah. But yeah, without enough skill, yeah, it'd be tricky. I would think Rapunzel's is probably taller. I think with Lighthouse, it's probably just more squat. You don't really think of it being a huge, tall structure. Yeah. Yeah. If the ponies are maybe like a head shorter than humans at best, then that would still probably make Rapunzel's probably much taller. Because I think the Lighthouse is probably... Sunny's Lighthouse probably isn't more than 5 stories. I mean, while Tangled seems more... They probably use some perspective tricks to make it seem larger, you know? Where if you're like looking up at it, if you're close to it, then they might use a focal length to make it, the camera focal length to make it seem taller than it probably is in reality. So, yeah. But that's fun to think about, yeah. Let's see though. These are all stock music. It's like I'm really jamming out to them. Yep, there's a comment. Okay. Favorite characters is Rapunzel. Wish I watched the... I haven't watched the 2D series, so I don't know if there's like extra characters and extra development. Which that series almost seems like it's a season 2 or like another movie, you know. It's probably like all the episodes are probably longer than the movie itself with the series. What if they Tell Your Tale's also longer than the movie now? They're only like 5 minutes, but there's probably like 20 of them. To like 10 times 5, 100. Yeah. Might actually getting close. If you had like credits and stuff, that might be about the same. But yeah, I think I've only seen like Rapunzel like 2 or 3 times at best. I watched it in math class near the end of the year. It was like, we're done teaching you math. It's like the last week or so. Let's have a pizza party, and does anyone have any DVDs of movies that are okay? And one student was like, I have the DVD of Rapunzel. And it was like, oh, okay, that'll do. but our classes were like shorter than, they were probably like an hour long, so we could have actually watched the whole movie. Yeah, so that was fun. Yeah. I don't know. The mom, evil queen lady, she's cool. I like her song at the start of it. It's got a good beat. That's what I'll probably get out of that. Yeah. Let's see though. Let me get some more water actually, and then I'll talk about anything else from you guys here. Better roast beat. Gotta meet it. Mother. I always thought it was Grothel, but is it Gothel? Okay. What's best? Yep. You got it. Way to go. What else have I been doing? I've actually gotten back into playing Phoenix Wright, Spirit of Justice. I don't know. I wanted to play something on my break, my lunch break at work. Because I've been trying to not use my internet as thoroughly at work, so I can save my I don't have the Wi-Fi password at work, which I probably should get at some point, but yeah. So I'm trying to limit how much data usage, 4G and whatnot. Make sure that that's limited, because we do have a plan, so it's like I can't really go over it. So it's like, what's an alternative to being on social media? I don't know. I have a 3DS still. Let's do that. And it's like, okay, Phoenix Wright is good for. It's not really that great for short bursts, as you only get maybe like one half a testimony through, and it's like you get frustrated with like what's even you're supposed to do. I had a almost like a rage quit of like, there's a part where you do these like visions, and they're like cutscenes where they show like the different moods and different senses of what the victim's last moments were. And so it's like, that's kind of cool. You can try to figure out like what the contradictions are in it, but the way that it's set up and like the mechanics of it are just so janky that it's like I couldn't couldn't do it. About referring to, I eventually broke down and just got a walkthrough, and it's like, what do you do? And it's like, I had the right idea, which is the worst part, of playing a game, a puzzle game, especially, and feeling like you have the right idea, but then the mechanics of the game are so obtuse that like it doesn't allow you to just say your idea the way that you want it to. At a point where I've had this issue with Phoenix Wright as well. I played through all the games, the mainline games, where it's like, I call it the envelope letter issue, where the game is so incredibly scripted to the point where I had one moment, it was like Apollo Justice or one of the later ones, where you have, as your evidence is a letter and an envelope as two separate objects that you can send as like evidence to say like, oh well, look, here's the letter, here's the envelope. That's two separate things in your inventory. And so during court, it's like, ooh, I know, they're talking about the envelope, the letter. Okay, I have an idea. Ooh, which part is it? Okay, this one, it's the envelope, right? Okay, take that, it's the envelope, haha. And then they're like, no, what kind of evidence is that? That's like, the judge is like, that has nothing to do with the court, the entire thing at all. You're a dummy. And I was like, what? but the thing, right? And so I looked it up, and it's like, oh, you're supposed to present the letter. And it's like, but they were the same thing. You took it at the crime scene, you took the letter out of the envelope. They should both work. And then you can just have like a weirdly constructed sentence that's like, well, we found this, you know, evidence that's like points to it, and it's like, here you go. It's like this part. I was like, this is not, man. Because it's like it's just frustrating because it's like, wait a minute, you spend so much time like, you know, you have the happiness of like, oh, I found out what, you know, this will get you, but then it's like, oh, you presented equally wrong piece of evidence. So I had that like this week too, where it's like, ooh, I know, where like you're watching these cutscenes of like the victim murder basically, and that's what it is. And I was like, okay, so this lantern here, something's wrong because like this one's damaged at this corner, but if you're looking at it from this angle, that means that that's incorrect, based on this evidence or something that we established. So it's like, okay, well, how does that work? And I was like, okay, but the way that you have to do it is like you have to not only watch, you know, what's going on in a cutscene. There's also these plates at the bottom, and they tell you different timings and stuff, and there's little words to say like, okay, at what point this like the description of what's going on. So it gets like incredibly complex. Let's see. Thank you, real fan. We'll talk more next week, I guess. Thank you. Oh boy. Yeah, it just to finish that is that you have to watch the cutscene, find the right moment, click on the right part of the screen, while the big part is while your testimony is on the right page, and then say that this doesn't make sense. Objection. You know, and it's like, whoa. I can see in hindsight why that wouldn't make sense, but it's like, I guess I'm ahead of the curve, so it's like, hey, wait a minute, this other thing doesn't make sense, or like, why is this going on? So I try to conclude what I think, you know, is the next step is after that. So it's like I have to like break it down and say like, no, we're talking about this. Just hold your horses. We haven't got there yet. And so I was like, okay, I got it, right? It's the lantern at, you know, playing Clue. It's like, okay, it's mustard in at the library with the knife. And it's like, you have to do all of that at the same time while it's also being timed. In a sense, you can rewind it, but you can only rewind it like within 5-second sections. So like, you have to rewatch this whole like video over and over and over to like hope that you get it. But I was like, okay, I got it. Eventually I was like, okay, testimony here doesn't make sense, because like they were saying something about the spring water corner here, it's there. And I was like, okay, that doesn't make sense because you can see the wind, and it had a text in front that said wind. And I was like, okay, well, wind, I guess. And it's like, no, you're wrong. And I was like, ooh, is it the worst problem of a puzzle is like, ooh, maybe that's the wrong solution. You know, obviously that's like your next guess. It's like, well, it's got to be something else. And so you search through, and it's like, you're spending time, like, that doesn't make sense. So it's like, that's the only thing that's, like, I can think of. That's the first thing I thought of. It's like, okay, you know, you just go through all the possibilities of, like, okay, is it the sight of the wind itself? Was I on the wrong timing of it? Was it the lantern itself? Is there some other timing of that? Is it the testimony itself? It's like, there's so many different combinations that becomes, like, so... like lockpicking of like, wait a minute, there's just like too many different things that's like just got overwhelming of like, wait a minute, because that, and it's the problem is that on the onset I was like, I had the right solution, but it was like just game mechanically was just like so much more complex than it probably needed to be at some point too. Could have just been like, you know, watch this and then have a, they have like multiple choice questions too, and it's like, I guess is this, but sometimes they reroute it into, oh, you got it wrong, but then we'll just kind of slip you into like, well, that's wrong, but I guess the other one is probably right, so we'll just kind of continue the story from there. But then, yeah, so so now I'm like slightly more stressed going back into work, you know, being like, why did that happen? Yeah, it's like, they should have let me have that in the first part, like, and then I have to go back into like making trophies. I'm trying to do that as best I can. So it's like, oh man. So yeah, it's probably not the best game to play during work of like too high level and stuff like that, but jeez, yeah, I forgot how, that's probably why I dropped the game. Well, usually I've been playing the game on like trips, but that hasn't been happening often these last couple of years. So yeah, apparently the game came out in 2016. I just never actually finished it because I've been trying to play it on airplane trips, you know, those like 3 or 4 hour trips, airplane trips, and it's like you can get pretty far in like a couple hours. But yeah, trying to pick that up, and it's like, man, this isn't yeah, let's see if there's any other games I got Klonoa, but that's on Switch, so I'm not sure if I'm comfortable taking Switch to work yet. 3DS is fine. It's all enough. But yeah, Klonoa, I beat Klonoa 1 on easy mode, and that was like the most trickiest, hardest game I've played in a while. And then I started Klonoa 2 this past week or so, and kind of been itching to get back into that. I've just been so busy with trying to get the movie going that it's just like I just want to get back into making sure that I spend my time as best I can. So probably trying to do it best in my downtime, but it's like I have been working longer hours into the night, so probably want to quit earlier in the day. That'll probably be good. Yeah. Oh boy, how you guys doing? I think I'll wrap this up so I can have lunch, and get ready for dinner, I guess, after that as well. Jeez. Hope you guys are doing good. But otherwise, I think I'll wrap this up here. Sounds like I'm lightheaded from all of that. So yeah, okay. Thank you. See you guys. Thank you. Yeah. Too many arms. Thank you. Alright. I didn't want to say I love you guys, but I do. But just in a platonic, nice way. But yeah. Thank you guys. We'll be back next week. We'll see where I pick up. Hopefully we got Zip done, and then maybe able to animate a little bit of that, at least poser in some poses, and then see from there. And then I get Pip as well. So look forward to all that next time. Alright, thank you guys. Alright, bye bye. See you soon.